Hey, what's up everybody? I got another episode in the dungeon. We are going to replace my front brake pads. Stick around. Alright, so I am replacing my front brake pads on my Softail Slim. Inspecting both front and rear. Yeah, it's definitely time. My front pads are nearly, I don't know if you guys could see it, but they're nearly grinding the rotors. I'm sure you guys will not be able to see it, but it's definitely time, especially when the season is upon us. I got to replace my front and rear and also flush the brake fluid, but you know, I just went ahead and purchased the front for now. The rear pads weren't in stock, so I did place an order in them. They should be coming to me in the next couple of days or a week. And once I'm done replacing the pads, then I'll go ahead and flush the brake fluid and I should be ready to go. Till then, for my peace of mind, I am not going to ride this Slim until the brakes are completed. So I figure I'd get a jump start on it, and let's start off with the brake pads. First and foremost, before I get started, I am not a certified motorcycle technician. I have never replaced pads on a motorcycle. I've replaced pads on vehicles numerous times. So this will be my first time replacing pads on a Harley Davidson. All right, guys, so the tools you'll be needing on this job, it's not much. You will need a 3/8 socket wrench. You do need a 1/4 inch hex. You will need a 12.10 millimeter socket for the caliper. This is very important. This is a 12-point socket, not a star socket or anything else. 12-point. You need a 12-point in order to remove these bolts. If you use something else, you will strip them out, and you're gonna definitely will need to go to Harley to get replacement bolts. It's a mess. Just get a 12-point socket, guys. Obviously, you guys will need the material, brake pads, all that. Brake cleaner, and also brake grease. And also what I got is a wire brush to clean out the bolts as recommended per Harley. So, you know, you want to start off by using your 1/4 inch drive and loosening up these bolts for the brake pads. You just want to loosen them up. You don't want to remove it. Just loosen them up. Therefore, it could still hold the pads itself when you remove the caliper. And then once you remove the caliper, then you could disassemble the 1/4 inch and remove the brake pads. But for now, we're just going to loosen them up and then go ahead and remove the caliper with that 12-point drive. So let's get started with that. Before you start removing the brake pads, you will need to open up your reservoir because when replacing worn out brake pads and replacing them with brand new pads, the pads will be much thicker. Therefore, when you push in the caliper back, that's going to allow back pressure out through your reservoir, and some will leak out. It is recommended to suck some of the brake fluid out. Therefore, when you push the calipers back in, it's not going to ooze out. So I am going to recommend putting in a rag around your reservoir and leaving the reservoir slightly open. Therefore, there is air and not built up pressure during this job. Okay, so I removed the brake pads off of the caliper. Okay, this is the time where you do want to start, you know, just brushing it down. Brush away the old dust off of it. This is also a good time to inspect your brake pads. You know, I mean, these are pretty dull compared to the newer ones. You know, well, geez. You know, big difference here. If I could hold it. You know, big difference. Okay, huge difference. So this is always a good time to start brushing these down. If you have brake cleaner, hey, spray the bad boy in there. But so this is where you want to install the new pads in there, and you want to stick something skinny in between to allow the calipers to be flush with the brakes, so it's not hard putting the caliper back into the rotors. All right, so bear with me here. All right, so this is exactly what it should look like, guys. It is currently all pushed in. I used the existing old brake pads. I just stuck them back in there. I used something skinny like this, something skinny just to fit in between the pads, and I just pushed it back in, guys. And I was also being careful to make sure the brake fluid wasn't oozing out. A little bit came out, but it made it easier opening up that reservoir so the built-up pressure does not accumulate. But this is exactly what you want, guys. So it's easier to install the new calipers and install them back in the rotors. So since we got that flushed in, now I'm going to brush it off, clean it out, use some brake cleaner, get it prepped up for the new pads. All right. This is also a good time to use that wire brush and just start brushing off these bolts. You know, you want to try cleaning this as much as possible because, you know, since it's out there, you're not going to get another chance of cleaning it. You know, the brake pads from Harley, they gave me a new set of bolts, so obviously I'm going to use these. These are the old ones, which they don't look too bad. So I am going to use the new bolts that the part came with. I just got done brushing these off. It also came with a new clip from the part. So yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to start putting everything back. There is arrows indicating the direction this could be installed. So you want to put this arrow, since it's pointing this way, you want to go that way, okay? Important tip. The way it was installed, you know, the screws, these, they're going to go on this hole in between this bracket and also in between right there, guys. You want to make sure it's in between this little spot for the bolt to go through so it holds the brake pad, okay? Same with the back portion. You want to put it in between there to make sure it holds it well. When installing the new pads into the caliper, you will feel some pressure. And then, you know, you just got to tie it down. You don't want to tie it down all the way until it's back into the housing. And also, you know, brake grease. Let's use some brake grease. Put a little dab on the back side of the pads itself. And yeah, so let me install everything back together and I'll check back with you guys. Took a little grunts and swear words, and I got them in, okay? The tricky part here, guys, is, you know, you need to make sure that bolt goes in between this metal bracket underneath this little clip, just like that, okay? That's gonna be the trickiest part, but they give you, you know, what I did, the front part wasn't too bad. The back bolt was a little tricky. I just had to push this lever down a tad bit and also lining up the pads so it goes through the pad as well. So it needs to go through the first pad, goes through the bracket, underneath this clip, then over to the next pad over. And that's where it catches thread on the opposite side of the caliper itself. So there you have it. Now it's time to clamp this caliper back into the rotors. Let's get started with that. Pads and the caliper is torque into spec. The reservoir cap is torque into spec as well. You want to make sure you pull in the lever to make sure it's stiff again, because when pushing those calipers back, you remove all the pressure. Therefore, after torquing them down, you want to keep pushing down the front brake until it gains that pressure. As recommended on Harleys, you want to run the bike 100 miles just for the brake pads to loosen up a tad bit. You don't want to go crazy the first 10 miles, guys, and just hitting the brakes. No, you want to ease up these new pads, get them heated up. Usually they say they say to go 10 miles per hour, hit the front brake, go 20 miles per hour, hit the front brake, 30, 40, 50, and on. Usually takes about 100 miles for the brake pads to ease up on you. But there you have it, guys. Maintenance takes your bike a long, long way, but most importantly, it gets you safe from trip A to trip B. Those are the front brakes on a Softail model. You know, the rear is just going to be the same exact way. It's just a different location. I'm going to be doing that once the part gets delivered, and also I am going to be flushing out the brake fluid. Although after today's repair, the brake fluid did not look bad at all. So it may last for one more season or whatnot. But hey, thanks for sticking around, guys. Comes another episode. If you have not, hit the subscribe button, hit the like, drop a comment. Let's keep the algorithm going. As always, 2 wheels down. Take it easy.